And we're back live because we're back live. Judd'z Budz episode. It's way too far over on the right. Oh, there it is. Episode 91. Can't really think of anyone off the top of my head. As always, your host, Spoke Z, joined by my good buddy, Mr. at State of Hoppy. Hoppy, how are you doing?
Oh, I've been better. I'm great now, but
that's good.
The week has been less than spectacular.
Nice.
But
that's a good start.
Hockey helps.
Good start.
Whatever.
What are we drinking tonight?
A dinosaur beer. Boom.
Oh,
I figured you were going to talk about some of our prospects that'll eventually end up in Iowa. So the best beer that comes from Iowa, the King Sue Double IPA. Way better than your quadruple IPA Bud Light. So,
hey, I found some of these in the back of my fridge, the old Nooners. So,
what
was
flavor?
A pretty good reveal right there. This I don't know. Passion fruit at the moment.
That's a solid option.
Yeah, figured it. Needs some sugar, needs some energy. First time in a while. Sunday went a full night with zero sleep, just didn't fall asleep. Monday was a battle. I don't know if I won or lost the battle, but I was in one, that's for sure. Emailed my boss at like 4 a.m. She's like, hey, just as a heads up, I'm gonna be remote today. Didn't even ask. I was like, trust me, this is gonna be good for the this will be better for everyone if I am not in the office today.
You don't want me there.
Yeah. She loved the way I did that. She was a big fan of it. Nope. She's pissed. That's fine. Still not fired yet. No hearing, which we can. Sounds like there are a few guys that also have no hearings that probably should have one. But yeah, so it's been. I mean, it is crazy how my whole life really is one bad night's sleep, but like it just can it's crazy. It's not the next day, it's the day after. And you're just like, oh no, this is worse than it was before. Anyways, yeah, I feel great. So not that you
awesome. Yeah. Everyone's popping in the chat. What's up, Denny? Cosgrove, I don't even know what that means. I'm probably missing something obvious. Our boy Integrity, what up? Oh man, it's I mean, we could start real quick on the number 91.
Well played.
I assume you're with me on this, but I gotta we'll just gauge it, I guess. Tavares getting booed when he hits 1,000 points. Awesome or horrible?
I'm in the camp of it's just like funny. Like there was no world where they ever. And what a way to do it, by the way, on Long Island. Game tying goal with 3 seconds left. Mercilessly booed. And like, I know people pretend to have like a strong opinion one way or the other. If you are not an Islanders fan or a Leafs fan, and even if you're a Leafs fan, really, if you really give a shit about Islanders fans being lunatics and booing John Tavares, like there's so many other things to have like visceral reactions over. Like, I just think it's funny that this is a grudge that will go on forever. Like, at no point is this fan base like, oh, you know what? Enough time's passed. Like, good for him, man. Like, we still love him, actually, They're lunatics, which is why it's great. I'm a big fan of all lunatics, so it was so funny that he did it there in that fashion. Fortunately, the Islanders won in overtime, but it was just such a funny situation. And I don't understand how people are like, these fans are a disgrace. Like, oh, yeah. No other fan base would possibly boo the guy. Ever. Yeah, no, that's the only fan base in the world that would boo him for that.
Yeah, like we've seen people boo over way crazier shit. But like, how great would it be to just go full heel on the Islanders instead of like a jersey retirement, no banner or anything? What if they just blew up that picture either of him in the pajamas or the tweet with the pajamas in it and just put that up in the rafters for eternity. If he doesn't win a cup, if he wins a cup, then no way. But if he doesn't, they throw that up there and it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, this guy played here for a little bit. It's fine. We're not damaged by it though. I will say the first game when he was in Toronto, that first game back on Long Island was the funniest. Like that was the best when the first time he went back there with Toronto, the booing, the chirps, the chants, like I was all in on that game specifically because that was merciless. And if I remember correctly, the Islanders kicked the ever-living dog shit out of them too. I might be just remembering that the way I want to, but
nothing wrong with that.
That I can't remember some of like the very funny chants that were going all game long, but I just remember watching it like this is the fucking best. Like this is why we watch sports for this bullshit. This is the only reason. I love it. It's gonna happen its whole fucking career, and they will not get over it, and that's their right because it's their fan base and good for them. I don't give a fuck. Like, no, yeah. Again, it's so weird if like if you're a fucking Florida Panthers fan, and you have an opinion on this, like you're a loser. Like you just go away. No one cares.
Well, and I mean, like think about it. Like Suter coming back here and getting booed to high hell. Like imagine being a Dallas Stars fan and being like, "How dare you treat him that way?" Like they should be on.
I am so upset about this. This is really ruining my night, my whole week, and possibly my hockey watching experience. God. Yeah, whatever, dude.
Now, a bigger rivalry, though, than Islanders fans versus Tavares. Mateo brings up a great point. We need to hear about your opinions on what unfolded with your biggest rival, Nick Cousins.
First of all, this whole past week has just been
chaos.
The NHL just once again making complete fools out of themselves. Starting with the Kane Brodin thing, which we'll talk about. Like, what was it? The next night, the Robinson one. And then I feel like there was one other one. But then the Goodbranson Cousins thing was just like, all right, what are we going to do now? And they just keep every time they make a decision, like, well, 12 hours ago, you said the exact opposite. Oh, the day before that, you said something kind of different, almost similar. Like, you have no idea what we're doing anymore. And, like, you're kind of at the point where I feel like some of them just don't know what the fuck. Like, the players at this point must be, I don't know what the fucking rules are anymore. I have no idea.
And that's what Oposo said, right? Like, flat out, like, yeah, I'm not mad that the penalty was called. I'm mad that the same thing happened yesterday. One was clean and applauded. The other one was a 5 in a game. And then the one with Cousins was just a 2-minuter. Like, make it make sense.
The best was, I mean, everyone knew that it was coming. The tweet from player safety the next day, Eric Goodbranson has a hearing with the department of players. I'm like, oh, fucking course he does. Which everyone knows how I feel about Nick Cousins. He is so unbelievably gutless. And it was the most Nick Cousins sequence ×2 I've ever seen.
Meaning it was cowardly. Yeah.
It was just like, ducks him the first, or does that bullshit hit the first time, and then ducks, like, obviously. I mean, I also don't blame him for not fighting, because Goodbranson would legit, and kind of, yeah, he got like a 16th of what Goodbranson wanted to give him. And like, if he actually squared up and dropped the gloves, like, that's not one where Goodbranson like wins the fight, gets him down. It's like, oh, thanks. All right, good on you. He's like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to murder you. So I get why you didn't want to fight him. But like, in that situation, that hit was so fucking gutless. And the fact that they were like, 2, that is insane. Especially given the past week of hits and just the decisions that are coming from the NHL. And Nick fucking Cousins, man.
It wasn't even the past week, though, man. It was like the 2 days prior. It was Friday and Saturday, and they're like, yeah, let's do this.
They were like,
I mean, one said nothing, one said 5 in a game. Let's just like aim between the goalposts.
let's just kind of just do nothing. I mean, I don't know. What if we do nothing? Maybe they'll stop. Maybe they'll just stop doing it.
Yeah, that's.
But yeah, I mean, I can't fucking stand Nick Cousins, dude. Like, it's one thing when he does the little rat shit that like isn't insane. It's just like this little fucking rat, and then that's what I'm like. I fucking hate that guy, but like not really. But when he's pulling this shit, which he has done before, like it's not like this is a new thing. Like I can't fucking stand him, and the way he did like his face afterwards too, was like, oh, what did I do? I can't believe this. It's fucking unbelievable.
Just like Evander Kane bitching to the media, and then Mateo chimes in, and then a 6-gamer for Perron.
Oh my god, I forgot about that one. I mean, so again, this whole week has just been very different situation and still ridiculous. But like this week has just been like, again, guys, just say nothing. Maybe they'll stop. Maybe they'll just stop doing this bullshit. It is crazy. I feel like there is every year there is one like week or 2 week period where it's just like, what the fuck is going on? And then it like kind of calms down, but everyone's like, I don't know, these guys are fucking idiots. But I don't even know which one we want to go to.
Well, let's go to. Oh, okay. So you do know which one we're gonna go to.
Well, no, I just real quick because there's not really a whole lot to say about the Robinson one. Like, I think Okpozo's reaction I thought was the perfect. Like he didn't go nuts. He just stated exactly like everything he said was very true. And he's like, this isn't like no problem with the penalty because that guy has taken a lot of hits to the head. Obviously, like, he's had his own injury problems, like significant problems. And he's like, hey, no problem with that being a penalty. But what the fuck was it the game before? Like,
right.
There's no consistency, which is, I thought he said it very well. I like the way he did it in the media. And then they kind of just whatever moved on. But like, I just feel like that was the correct and like relaxed way of actually just stating exactly what's going on. So I wanted to give him credit for that because I like the comment.
Well, and then let's go to the Brodin one, right? Everyone immediately just up in arms. I'm sure a lot of them are Edmonton fans, but whatever. Oh, he looked over his shoulder and saw Kane coming. Free reign to do whatever the fuck he wants. Like, if I walk across the street and look over and see a car, the car can just plow through me with no repercussions.
Yeah, keep your head up.
I knew it was coming. I should have braced myself.
And like this is so the shit that's crazy to me are the people who like probably wouldn't have even thought to bring up the fact that Brodin did the shoulder check to look. They wouldn't have even brought that up if some idiot didn't say, oh, well, you know what? I forget who it was. It said at first, like, oh, yeah, the reason was he shoulder checked and should have picked whatever. And then all of a sudden, these idiots on Twitter who just, I mean, I can just picture the human beings that are firing these tweets off. Like, I read one that was like, the more I watch this, the more absolutely ridiculous this is by Brodin. I was like, what the fuck? What planet do you live on? Like, that is crazy. Yes, he looked over his shoulder, and Evander Kane absolutely obliterated him from behind into the boards. He's out long term, and they end up on a power play.
Well, and then Kane had the audacity to absolutely throw a temper tantrum the size of Patrick Mahomes after the game. Like, oh my gosh, he came after me, and you could tell he dragged his skate over my face on purpose. And I just don't think there's any place for that in the game. Shut the fuck up. There
isn't a place in life for 80% of the things Evander Kane does on and off the ice. So fuck that guy. He sucks, dude.
His wife contributed to the Ryan Hartman Fine Fund. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about this scumbag, I don't know what else you need.
He is terrible. But it's such a joke. I really can't believe that the actual stance from the NHL was Brodin did the shoulder check, saw him coming, and should have protected himself better. You're not even we know that decisions in the past, that's probably been the actual rationale. You're not supposed to say that out loud.
Right.
You're not supposed to do that because guess what? If I'm Nick Cousins and I'm a fucking little rat I'm like, I don't give a fuck if anyone's looking. I'm gonna blow everybody up from behind now. Oh, they should have fucking saw me coming. Like, it is such an asinine actual reason to say that there is nothing. Like, no, that's fine. If you look, you should definitely brace for fucking that guy running you from behind, right in the numbers into the glass head first.
Dude,
absolutely, yeah.
Harvard educated, like smart guy from what we know, but like, is this a byproduct of taking a goon and putting them in charge of reviewing this kind of stuff? Like, George Peros, where you at, bud?
I just don't. I like.
Use
I just can't figure
as a landing point.
Yeah, it's
that one will never get old.
That one was insane. I like some of the shit that I'm like, man, I can't believe you, out of all the things you could have come out and said, that's what we came up with, fellas. That's what we're gonna tell the fucking league. Holy shit. I mean, it's fucking so brutal. And of course, now he's on goddamn LTIR. Like, just and the fact again, what was it? Like, was it the game win? Oh no, was it the game winner or the game tying goal? They also fucking blew the call too. Or was it they put them on the? I can't even remember. I was just so stunned. I was like, I can't even. It is unbelievable. There is no rules that are real. Like, there's just no actual rules of this fucking league. Like, we're just making them up as we go. It's crazy. It was a joke, dude. It's just such a joke.
Sick league.
Shoulder, yeah. I looked over my shoulder. I saw that if you want to shoot me, I know that guy. I'll duck, because I looked, I saw you, But I don't know. It was one of those things too, where like, since there wasn't even a penalty on the ice, I was like, there's no fucking way they're gonna give him anything later. They should, but there's no fucking way they will. That's the other thing too. Sometimes with their decisions, where it's like, oh, there's no penalty. What are we gonna do? Suspend him? It's like, yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know if they missed it. Yeah,
that's kind of the point of supplemental discipline.
It's like at that point, it's like, why don't you just say, oh, we don't want to make the refs look even worse? It's crazy.
I mean, if they're going to say, oh, he looked over his shoulder, so it's okay, might as well say, oh, we don't want to make the refs look dumb, so no suspension.
They're nice guys. They're doing their best out there. Like,
well, they're nice guys now that good old Tim Peel's not part of the group.
And he was one of them, carving fucking Brodin. It is crazy. It is fucking nuts. He went on Twitter and fucking carved Brodin too. It's just like, okay, that's great.
Wonder
so this is just in the heads of everybody.
I still wonder if PL is
also, even if he braces for that hit, if he braces for that hit, who's winning that bat? Like, full force. Whatever. I don't even like.
But is the expectation?
Should have thrown a bigger reverse hit. You should have thrown a bigger reverse hit.
You saw him coming, so you definitely should have just spun around so that he could fucking plaster you from the front. Like, great.
Yeah. Thanks. Great. I'll write that one down. Yeah. Remember that for later, guys. Yeah.
God damn it, Sean. South Park logic. What? You can shoot an animal as long as you yell, "It's coming right for us." Oh, good old Uncle Jimbo. God. Yeah. That is perfect. Cosgrove. I might have to use that. That's great.
It takes a lot for me to have any like actual like reaction like this to play to these kind of plays, because like half the time, whether we agree with the decision or not, like you can be like, I mean, I see what they're saying. That's dumb. This one was just legitimately absurd. Like, it's like he shoulder checked. Like, oh, okay. Like, well, he looked, so no rule. That's fucking crazy. And like, I don't give a fuck who you are. If that's Evan Bouchard and the same thing happens, it's like, oh, well, he shoulder checked, and I can't believe Ryan Hartman ran him through the glass. Well, he did shoulder check. He should have, I don't know, braced himself. Edmonton Oilers fans would be losing their fucking minds. So
absolutely.
And as they should. Correctly, they would be losing their fucking minds. That's the thing.
God, I wish I could give proper credit, but I have to throw this out for so the Edmonton-Chicago game that happened the other day. Connor versus Connor. And I don't remember who it was, but someone had the brilliant comment to like turn it into, the Connor versus Connor game had been a little stale up to that point. Hadn't really seen much out of Connor Murphy or Connor Brown.
Oh yeah,
That's just a brilliant move.
I think that was Cam. I think it was Robinson.
Was it? Okay.
Well, he said that he did say Connor versus Connor, the battle we've all been waiting for. Connor Brown versus Connor Murphy.
Okay, fair. That
was one of them.
Maybe that was, I don't know. Fair.
But we can move on. It sucks. So now Brodin to LTIR. They just called up. Who was it? Hunt, Mermis, Lettieri.
Hunt, Mermis, and Lettieri. Yep. Which
yeah.
That decision was clearly made by Bill Guerin alone, because Chris O'Hearn, out of nowhere, just not part of the team anymore. I'm not even sure where to start with that or what to make of it.
I don't even know how in depth we can go, because like it was announced and nobody had anything else. Like they were like, this was obviously incredibly unexpected, and this is the only update we have at this time. Even Russo was like, this came out of absolutely nowhere.
I think we can read between the lines. Like clearly something happened, like some form of foul play. The best one that I saw, someone, I don't even remember who it was, but someone commented under Russo's post saying, not substantiated by any source, but Chris O'Hearn let go from the Wild after sleeping with Connor Bedard's father.
Fucking Twitter, yeah. It is just...
I'm sorry, that's just fun. I enjoyed that one.
That one, yeah. It is unbelievable. Some of
just lunacy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see how much more information eventually comes out. I mean, something will, but yeah, that was the one thing I looked at today on Twitter. I was like, what? And they're like, that's it. No updates. I was like, okay, great. I am not going to wonder about this for the rest of the day now. I will be like, what the fuck is that? So, I mean, again, that's why as we start, I was like, I don't even know how in depth we could go on this, but I guess the farthest we can go is like, we'll just wait for more updates, I guess. But usually in those, it's never great. It's never just like, I figured this was the right time I need to, step away for good, permanently. Always.
Wild come out and make a statement. We just want to be clear. Chris O'Hearn was not let go due to anything relating to players on this team or their family, or the Blackhawks players or their family.
Certain player. Yeah. It's, just to get ahead of this one. God, yeah. Just because we know how Twitter works, you sick puppies.
Yeah, we don't want to wait 5 days and let these rumors spiral. So obviously with Brodin going down, and we've seen it, like he's wearing a cast right now. Russo made it pretty clear right away that, yeah, the 10-game, 24-day threshold is going to be hit. He'll end up on IR. That's a big problem for a stretch here. Yeah. What is the real move? Like, how do you want to see this blue line deployed? Obviously knowing that apparently John Hines either has like something that Merrill's holding against him. I don't know if there's blackmail or if he's just bad enough of a coach that he thinks John Merrill is a good defenseman. But what are we doing here?
Yeah, and this is like one of those. I feel like this scenario, I mean, it can potentially be a disaster for several reasons, but one of them being like, this is where the whole like, hey, this guy's new to the team, doesn't have as good a grip on all of the players as obviously Dean Evison would. Like in this situation, you're like, okay, well, Mermis looked good, Hunt looked fine, Merrill has been a problem. I mean, I'm not going to assume like Hines doesn't know anything about any of those players, but he's probably looking at John Merrill like, all right, well, he's got.
Oh, dude, Mermis played a good game, and then the very next game, they're like, oh, we got to bench someone. Let's put Goligoski and Merrill in as a pair, and Mermis, see you later.
Right?
How can you watch the games that have been?
Can you hear my roommate's dog?
Yeah. Oh,
he's
you're my roommate.
He's a lunatic.
And he's having fun.
Every time she leaves the apartment, he just any noise, and it doesn't help our fucking upstairs neighbor. They run around like I think they're doing sprints at this point, and he loses it. Like, he's been going for half an hour. This is unbelievable. I'm going to snap. But I don't actually really know what the ideal pairs are. This is crazy. This is unbelievable. I'm going to lose my mind. I can't. There's no one outside. There's no one there. Oh, my God. I'll ask you for while I lose my goddamn marbles. What is your, first of all, the ideal pairs? Like, I don't even know what the right combination really is, because at this point, what I want to figure out is what's going to get the most out of like Faber still without Brodin, because he still looked.
You know what?
Fine.
Everyone's worried about Brodin, or about Faber. That's the least of my concerns, dude. I think he was doing his thing even when Brodin was not playing well. I'm way more worried about the continued performance of Middleton, because since he got put back with Spurgeon, they've been a solid pairing. I want them to stay together. As far as who you stick Faber with, next man up, I don't even know. Personally, I think Mermis, but that's very up for discussion, because you're looking at the remainder there. So we got our top three, let's call it. The next three are going to be sifted out between Goligoski, Hunt, Merrill, Mermis, and Bogosian. So which two of them are sitting? Because you don't bring up Hunt and Mermis to not play, do you? Or is that their ploy? Are they? Well, no, that wouldn't even make sense, because that's not going to get you high enough. It's not an LTIR play. So yeah, like, why bring them up and then not do anything with them?
Yeah. I mean, that you wonder about them having a little bit of a rotation between those guys. Like, the one thing I also want to bring this up, last game, Bogosian was unbelievable. Like, I tweeted out, I was like, this guy came back from injury, probably still hurt, blocked a million shots, was just like tackling everybody, played like 20 minutes, and was like doing great. I was just like, this guy, maybe he just needs to have like a knock, as they say. And he's just like, all of a sudden, he's like, yeah, no, I'm nasty. Oh God. So in that case, really, because I think obviously Bogosian's in, like, he's in. And like you said, like Middleton and Spurgeon, like Middleton's got his swagger back. He's been so good with him. It's been like I think that we said this last week. Since really, I guess, right, either as Hines was coming in, maybe right before, I can't even remember, but it's like his best stretch of hockey, like in the NHL for a while. Like activating offensively, all that, like defensively solid, obviously. But so I want that pair for sure. And like you said, I really am not all that concerned about who Faber is going to be playing with, I guess. So I'm more concerned, like, all right, what do we want that third pair to be?
Yeah, you know, like, how can we minimize damage down there? I don't hate the play Mateo just dropped of throwing Hunt with Bogosian. That could be fun.
Yeah. That, you know what, Lynn? And oddly enough, I'm not even really concerned about like Hunt or Mermis. It's like it's crazy because we're sitting here. Well, I mean, actually, at this point, with even the small sample size we've had from the younger guys, like, it's actually really not that crazy that the ones I'm most concerned about finding the right pair would be either Merrill or Goligoski, just with how things have gone, like this year, and I mean, really last year, and probably even maybe like a little longer than that. So I'm kind of looking at it like, either Faber with Hunt and then Mermis with Bogosian, or vice versa, or like swap those. I don't know.
I like it the other way, but I'm good either way. But I love, and I understand that there is some logic to this, but it's just so funny to me that they're like, yeah, Middleton and Spurgeon are playing really well together, but we really want to make sure that Faber's playing with someone good, even though he's proven that he can fucking carry a pairing himself. Let's put Middleton with him because, you know, Spurgeon and Goligoski, a year and a half ago, they played together a couple times, so they've got a really good rapport.
They hang out all the time. They're always hanging. The families are they're just, you know, on off days, they're hanging out.
But like, that's the rationale for why they split up Spurgeon and Middleton. It's just like, yeah, Spurgeon and Goligoski naturally have that chemistry together. It's like, what?
Right.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, I don't like that at all. And really, the more we like kind of even talk about it out loud with like, if they do use Hunt Mermis, I'm getting less and less worried about it. But I then get worried because I know that's not probably gonna be what ends up happening. Like having them both on the second and third pairs, I feel like it's gonna be like one of Hunt or one of Maron Goligoski or both, for all we know, could be. And that I'm like more worried about that. So, no matter what, it's a fucking huge loss. Like, and it's not just IR. Obviously, it's LTIR. And I mean, from the sounds of it, he'll well surpass that like minimum threshold for LTIR too. So like that's brutal. And even when he comes back, then you have. It's not like he just comes back like, all right, the problem's over. Like, so.
Well, I love how he's at like a team function for like a charity event or something with the cast on, and the team hasn't even released a statement about it yet. Like no one's gonna fucking post that on the internet. Just like, did you see I don't know who posted the original video, but the 10K guys on Twitter found some video of a little kid wearing a Vikings jersey walking through like a Walmart with Justin Jefferson, and he just asked him like, hey, you going to play this weekend? And he's like, yes, sir. And like, that was how they like announced. They're like, oh, by the way, this little kid just
he broke it.
That Jefferson will be playing this weekend. And then like a day later, it like finally got like officially posted. And it's like, God damn. Like, how are you that far behind, lagged to what's posted on the internet in today?
Per source. Who's your source? I actually legally can't say because he is 9 years old.
Sources close to Justin Jefferson, like, oh, really? Like, it's no, like literally standing right next to him at
like
Walmart.
Physically, like in real life. Yeah.
Oh, that's just too good. Now another firing that happened. Craig Berube goes down, swinging.
Yeah. Not that shocking.
So someone asked me about it today at work too. They're like, hey, like, was this expected? Are you shocked? I'm like, I am in no way shocked. But if you like asked me last night, will Berube be fired this week? I would have been like, probably not. I don't know.
Right. The one question I have to have is like, what were the real expectations coming into the season? At the same time, like they just on so many nights,
the roster
stretching back. Yeah, I mean, and they've got some players, but
that is a flawed roster.
There, I don't love the construction at all. Like they've got some guys there that are real players. Like we saw last year, like Thomas, we saw Kyrou do their thing. And I mean, fucking Vucinovic is so good. Like that guy is unbelievable. But the back end is a problem. And I'm sorry. One of the things that I looked at is like, well, what are you like? Why he had a decent stretch? Did they really need to go multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract on Nick Leddy when they brought him in? Like, did they really have to do that? And their back end is just so weird. Those contracts. There's just so many guys on like 6x6s. It's crazy.
The patch jobs on this roster, right? When they should have done like a true teardown. Like you got your cup. You have leniency to go do that. Instead, they tried to do like the retool on the fly, and they botched it so bad. And like, you know, I'll apologize in advance. Torrey Krug is not your replacement for Alex Pietrangelo. I'm sorry. He doesn't even own a minivan. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
But then you've got like the moves we're talking about there too. Like they, you know, let Ryan O'Reilly go. Cool. They try and backfill him with fucking Hayes. And then you've got Nick Leddy, who you decide to extend, which I like Nick Leddy. I think like he is still a very effective defenseman in this league. I don't know that was necessarily their like top concern. They pick him over David Perron, and their power play's gone to absolute shit. And I mean, you can see it in Detroit. Perron is like carrying their power play, which is a crazy thing to say with some of the talent on that team. It's just a bizarre approach to patching holes here and there, going out and getting a guy like Kasperi Kapanen from the Penguins and basically giving free cap relief. It's just been a really weird approach. And I think this is more, not that you expect to see anything different. I think this is Armstrong's last move before he gets canned, because he has done a shit job with the roster. And yes, you won a cup. That only gets you so far. He's literally set the organization several years back, and they've got a good prospect pool they're building up. Like we already talked about it, dude. Snuggerud with Rick, that's going to be fun. But now you're looking at it and it's like, what else are you going to pair them with? There's not a big youth movement there. They got a couple guys. It's top heavy. They could have done so much more if they didn't feel like they had to immediately be a playoff team for the next couple of years. I don't know.
Yeah. And the thing with them is like that GM's, he's survived some bad times there before. Mm-hmm. And he's always been, he's an interesting GM because, like, if you remember, like they were, I think it was either the season before or 2 seasons before they won the cup. Like they looked like, yeah, they might eke into the playoffs. And he was like, I don't give a fuck, I'm selling. And he was just like, I'm not making the playoffs to make the playoffs. And then they win the cup, come back. They still were like, this is that COVID year was the next year. It was the top 2 teams in the NHL were the Bruins and St. Louis. So they were still fine. Like they were doing great. And then it just never really like continued. And the big thing for me is like, specifically on the back end, you look at the contracts they were signing. It was like Falk 6x6, Krug 6x7. Like, I think what was Letty, a 4x4, 4.5. But like, it's just so many of those contracts where it's like, even if there's like a limited, even if you have like full whatever trade, it doesn't matter if you're signing a 6x6. It doesn't fucking, and that guy's 28, 29 years old. It doesn't fucking matter if he has a no mover or not. Like, who in this climate too, with the salary cap the last few years, who's actually going to be like, yeah, I'll sign on. Then you don't really have to give up that much more for like, an okay guy that's on 6x6. So like, there's so many of those contracts there. I'm like, I don't know if you needed to do really any of those. And I mean, it doesn't help a guy like Parayko just can't play anymore. I mean, he can play, but he's not. He has been like for a couple of years. It's been,
yeah, it's a bummer.
He was
there, so good for that cup run, dude. So good.
Yeah, he was a stud that cup run. And then
that was no trade clause is just signing awful contracts, and then no one will touch them.
Yeah, it's called the St. Louis. Just like, all right, we'll just give everybody that is 28 years old. They've played about 500 games in the NHL. They've played good in peaks. Get 6x6. That's the starting point. So yeah, I mean, and that's where I'm like, I don't know. Like some of the, I don't know how much to even put on Berube, but like, I think with like the type of coach he is too, when things aren't going well, that's one where it's like, oh yeah, that's not really like once it starts going bad there with that kind of like, yeah, like the year they won, yeah, he was a player's coach, but I could like any coach after like a couple of years of just like disappointing performances, even like last year with Robert Thomas being like, well, I don't know why the fuck anyone's saying that we're not trying. Like, I don't know how we're getting our effort questioned. It's like, that's not good. Like, so it didn't totally shock me, but it was like, this just, it felt like a weird time. Cause like that team, I mean, they are like brutal to watch though. I do not enjoy
Who would have thought coming into this year that the Blues for a stretch there, like, were one of the playoff teams, and it was because they were being carried by Jordan Binnington. Like, who had that on their bingo card? I don't think that even existed as an option, but I agree with you to an extent on the Berube stuff, but I also feel like this is not his roster. Like, he coaches a certain way. His toughness got stripped from him. And yeah, there's still some tough guys there. I'm not saying that it's like a soft roster, but you look back compared to some of the teams he's had success with in St. Louis, it's just not the same.
Yeah, no, there was a big transition there of like, they've got solid players. They've got a couple of guys that are legit elite that play fucking hard. And then you've got like, it was almost the rest of the roster was like every forward you could find on any like other roster, like a middle six, but they were pieces of shit to play against. And like one of the toughest teams in the league in the back end. I think there was a couple of years ago, dude, where like the shortest guy or the smallest guy on their back end was like 6'2", 210. And they were just like murdering people. Like it was insane. And they just made like you said, like the roster obviously is kind of flipped over. It looks way different than when they won. But so, I mean, I'm not totally shocked, but I do think at some point, like how long does that Stanley Cup really save what's his Armstrong?
Yeah. Which again, like I'm not saying he's a bad GM. I'm saying the way he's handled the roster since the Stanley Cup has been bad. Like he's done great things before.
Whole lot of avoidable mistakes. Whole lot of contract. Like you, I mean, no one really. At no point did you need to do this, but all right.
Yeah, but man. Now gotta pop this one up from John Robinson. I don't know if this is real or if he's just pulling it and seeing how we react, but Maroon to the Bruins rumor, real?
Not real.
The Cup follows him.
No. The Bruins lost a couple games. And so like naturally on Twitter, the first thing is, oh, it's because they're too soft now. They don't have any tough. Maroon fights guys sometimes. It's every fucking time they go on a if they lose 2 games in a row, it is fucking dickhead Felger Maz on the Sports Hub, plus their really weird following on Twitter, which is like, oh, it's because they're too soft. No, they're too soft. They gotta get more fighters. They gotta get more meat. They gotta get harder. And I'm like, oh my god, you guys make me want to die. But no matter what, they can just play the worst hockey of all time. Like turn the puck over every time they touch it. Basically, do what they did against Florida in the first round last year. And like the reaction is they're too soft. And it's like, you people are so fucking weird. Like I don't know why. It's like, oh, they're fighting more. They were fighting more. They'd be 87-0 by February. I fucking hate you people.
But you love them at the same time. It's a weird, sick obsession you have.
They've annoyed me to the point though where I need them gone just because those are the people like, oh, Duca can't win. No. Explain yourself. Because those idiots need to leave. Yeah, they need to leave.
Do they know he has a sandwich named after him?
They don't leave this earth.
On the stuff though that we're talking about with avoidable mistakes for Armstrong, right? We got Ron chiming in here. When is Guerin going to be held accountable for what he's done with this roster with the NMCs? Which we can extend it beyond the no move clauses though. Would you agree that there have been some easily avoidable mistakes that he has made with the recent signings?
Oh yeah, big. I mean, I don't even think that can be people that want to defend Garrett the hell of that. Like they will, but there are certainly like at the time too. We've all been like, what?
Yeah,
like
it's not hindsight. It's not hindsight.
It's just like in the moment I was like, oh, that feels crazy. That's why did what? Like this, the one that will never leave me is the Goligoski one, because like the timing of when that contract was signed too, it was like, hey, he just can't stop getting scratched. It's like, all right, let's give him 3 years. Like what?
Hey,
no move clause.
6x6. It wasn't a 6x6.
No move clause. Like what the fuck?
I still think the biggest blemish, and like we can nitpick each individual contract. All 3 guys being signed before the season started this year seems just aggressive. Like, yeah, if we don't do this now, they're going to get paid way more somewhere else. Like Zuccarello, sure, I can understand because you got him for an okay deal there, and there's the side thing with Kaprizov. Hartman, like, I'll play along. Like, I'm okay with it. If you're telling me that other teams are going to outbid 4x4 for Foligno and they're teams that are in a position to win that he'd rather go to and uproot his family and leave the team that he's happy leading, I call supreme bullshit on that. There is no fucking way. It's because Bill Guerin is obsessed with the type of player that Foligno is. And like, for good reason. Like, it's a great player to have on your roster. not on a fucking 4x4 when you have kids that you're trying to get up into the pipeline, and you just signed 2 other guys that are going to be there for another 3 years, 4 years for Hartman. And you've got the 5-year special for Freddie Gaudreau, and his dad's not even part of the organization anymore. Like, all of that put together. And again, I have largely been a big supporter of Bill Guerin and all the things he's done. That string of decisions, I'm not even going to say that all of it's bad. It's the fact that all of it happened. Pick 1 or 2 of those things. Do not do the other 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm in the same boat where I'm like, all right, I guess I'll see how this plays out. But it feels like the volume of players now signed beyond like the next year or 2 years doesn't really bode well for, first of all, some of the guys you probably do want to keep too. Like, that wouldn't have costed. Yeah, there you go. That's why he's been fired.
Bill Guerin had no idea there were no move clauses. Chris O'Hearn slipped before they were signed.
God damn it. Yeah, like you said, like the fact that all of them got like, it's funny too. I mean, he's the old. I mean, it makes sense just based on age, but it's funny that like of all the guys that got resigned, who for the least amount of time, for the fewest amount of years, it was Zuccarello. He's like on face of a career. And I think you are at the point now where we're gonna question them all, like at least the number of years on those deals right now, but you better pray at least like half of them hit and give you something real good for the first 2-3 years of that deal. And the whole common thread is just like, all right, well, what is the plan for these young studs who look like they might be ready the next year or two? Like, that's the big question, obviously. In terms of like the ones that I'm like looking at like right now is still like the Goligoski one will break my brain. Even Merrill at the time, I was like, all right, 1.7
I thought Merrill at the time was legit. He played well that season. Like, he wasn't a world beater, but to sign him to 3 years for like what, 1.25? I was actually a supporter of that. Like, I'll raise my hand. You can all be mad at me. At the time, it made sense. He fell off a cliff, and I don't know why or how that occurred. I don't know what happened to him, because he was a very serviceable 5, maybe even 4 if you needed it in a pinch. Mm-hmm. But like now he's an 8.
Yeah, literally.
Like, what the fuck? But I don't know. It's not great. And then Ron adds another one. Marcus Johansson contract with a no move clause also issue. Everyone was so excited that Guerin didn't go out and get anyone new, but we've still got that acquisition from the trade deadline of Johansson, and he's looked great with Boldy. Has he provided any value this year? I like, that was one again. Hey, put my hand up there. I was excited that we were all saying
like anyone that said like at the time, oh, this is terrible. You're lying. You're just that's not true. You'd ever like that's not true. Or you're no matter who they said like, oh, this is a terrible deal. Blah 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 blah. I don't know. Like, that's been the one that to me is like honestly the most confusing. That like it started poorly this year, just like 70 or well, 80-85% of the roster. Like, literally, this was the worst possible start, other than losing every single game for most of the players on the team. But the prolonged, like, even like when they got last like 2 weeks or so, like there's been flashes of good play, but nothing even remotely close to what we saw before. Like, it's crazy when you go back and that goal that he scored, it was game 3 versus Dallas, where he put it between what's his face's legs and then went shelf, was unbelievable. It's like, that's the same hockey player. And it's just like, it's unrecognizable. But again, he makes like a small little, like, nice play here and there, but nothing that really stands out. Like, what was it? 2 games ago, maybe? Forechecked well, won the puck, and he gave it out front to, was that Erickson? I can't remember who it was, but he made like that play. It's like, all right, let's see if he can ride that momentum. Nope. So I don't know. Like, it's crazy. Like, again, not just the fact that it didn't start well, but the fact that it's continued is what's really like mind blowing to me. It sucks. So, I mean, even that contract, yeah, there's another, what was it, 2 years? I'm still not like, that's a killer. Like, is it 2 years at like 2 point something, maybe?
Which one? Yeah, Johansson 2 by 2 something. Yeah. Again, not crazy, but it's just like you're stuck with him. He's here. And that is a spot that is being taken away from other guys. Like the things I would do to give Adam Beckman a shot on that second line and put Johansson up in the press box for a couple games. Like, I don't know, whatever. All right. Do we want to, I guess one last thing, just wanted to throw it out because I thought it was a pretty funny concept. Jeff Merrick today talking about the All-Star game and how, like there's actually money being thrown out for the winner of the like skill competitions, as an incentive to get them to play. He threw out the idea that for the actual like games for the All-Star weekend, the winning team doesn't have to pay escrow that year. Can you imagine?
I love it, dude.
That's
Brad Marchand would. I'm not kidding. Brad Marchand would literally rig the All-Star voting to make sure that he was on an All-Star team or made the All-Star weekend. And you would see a Hall of Fame performance. I don't think there is a human being in the NHL who despises escrow more than Bradley Marchand. That guy, like, he brings it up all the time, like randomly. He's like, fucking escrow. Like, he's gonna make like 100 million, and he's still right, and rightly so. And that's why like the players will hate him on the ice. But like, yeah, but that guy, you know what? He stands up against escrow. That's kind of our guy sometimes. So he like outward, he is not shy about it. He would be the greatest hockey player of all time for one weekend if that meant that his team. Actually, he'd be probably even more of that. He'd probably injure every good player in the fucking league. Over the course of that.
Well, no, I was gonna say it'd be the first All-Star game where you would actually see a body check thrown.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he'd bring a sword. He'd bring a sword instead of a hockey stick off the opening face-off. McDavid's head. Just fucking. All right, that's one down.
Does Marchand hate escrow more than he loves Mitch Marner?
It's a good question. That's only Brad Marchand can answer that question. I don't want to make it. Those are two things he cares very much about for different reasons. Yeah, he's very passionate about both things. So,
all right. Well, let's transition then to the prospect roundup, more abbreviated here. Let's just talk about the guys that, like, something noteworthy has occurred here. Although, got to throw the first one out here for our boy Jason Bryant tuning in. What's up, Jason? Voice of the St. Cloud State Husky men's hockey team. Jack Pert, what have we been seeing of late from him?
It's weird. Like, I think he's for the most part played well this season. I think it was the first game against Michigan was like by far his toughest game. Like, was not playing well defensively, took a real bad penalty. I think Michigan scored the power play, which ended up being the game winner. So like, there's been just weird flashes, but for me, the thing that I wouldn't say it's like all that concerning, but it's just like, I'm kind of wondering what exactly is going on. The offense is just not there. Again, he's doing a lot of the things that he's done well historically that don't translate into points. He's continued to do the same thing. I guess the big concern really is more just a lack of like progression. Like that he hasn't taken another step up. Like his freshman year, for an 18-year-old freshman on a St. Cloud State team that was like top 10 in the country, I would pick little things to like critique, but overall, great first year. The year after that, he was unbelievable. This year, I'm just kind of like, all right, like I haven't seen him take over a game. I haven't seen him really dominate a game. St. Cloud's had a weird season. Like they're very fun to watch though. Every game is fun. Like that's like they've got a couple of studs up front and like can make some like Sports Center top 10-esque plays. There was I think it was that the second game against Michigan was electric. Actually, now I think about it, that was a shootout win. But either way, weird year for St. Cloud, weird year for Jack Parrott. There just hasn't been a whole lot of consistency, and the big thing that I'm like, I don't like. There's just hasn't been the progression I was hoping for him. But I mean, we'll see. Again, that's what I wonder about the more like this situation with St. Cloud versus like just him, because again, the flashes are there. He's still like he's such a good fucking passer. Like he still is just dishing. And I love him in transition. He's great. So like that's all stay the same. It's not like it's gone down. Like the things that he was doing well before, it's not like he's getting like worse at that stuff. So not overly concerned. I'm just like wondering what really is hampering the offense, I guess. Sometimes he's just like trying to do too much, but still love the player, still love the prospect. So we'll see how the St. Cloud goes here. Just a weird year for them. Like they'll be really good one weekend, and then you're like, holy fuck, like what is going on? Like their first 4 games, they were brutal. Yeah, but like I thought they were gonna be, well, I mean, really the St. Cloud they always are, where it's like I think maybe we should write them off, but it's St. Cloud. It's like you can never be like,
yeah.
Even if they don't have the guys in that lineup, they're like top end NHL prospects everywhere. They always just have a bunch of fucking like dogs, and they grind teams into the earth, and they've got their skill guys who make unbelievable plays, score huge goals at big times, and they're a nightmare to play against. But like the first 5 games of this season, I was just like, Jesus, like what is going on there? But we'll see.
Yeah.
Like you said, it is college hockey.
It is college hockey. All right. Well, Jason, if you feel like we missed anything, feel free to let us know in the comments. The one we have to talk about, though, especially with it's reached the point of an article being written by Joe Smith and Michael Russo of The Athletic. Charles Henry Stramel IV had a good weekend. Go off.
Oh, boy, did he. And, like, in the grand scheme of things, like this isn't something that will come back later and be like, oh, this was like missing out on the World Juniors as a like 3 or 4 time returning player, like not getting called into camp. Like that was the whatever. Like that was a turning point of him just lighting the world on fire.
He listened to us.
I think in like this, like in that moment in time, in this situation, this weekend, it was such an incredible response where like none of the plays that he made that like wound up being any of the assists or the goal that he scored. It wasn't anything crazy, flashy. Like a couple of the assists were like second assists. Can you hear this dog?
Oh yes,
he is.
He agrees. He's also very excited about how Charlie Stramel played.
Yeah, I have to like rifle through this, and I'm gonna yell at him because this is out of control now. But part of me does believe like this absolutely was him being pissed off, and kind of be like, all right, if you think I'm having a bad year, which he was, if you think that I'm not good enough to make this fucking team this year, even though I've played the last couple World Juniors, watch this. So I thought it like again the fact that it was the next weekend after he misses out on getting called into camp, and he comes up with 3 assists the next game, a goal, 4-point weekend. Like he was a fucking beast. And I mean, it's funny because I went back through the service that we use for Smart Scouting, sport contract. Like his underlying numbers have been fine, like very good actually. Like when he's on the ice, good things are happening. He's being like deployed a lot more in defensive situations too this year. And then when he has the opportunity to like the offensive zone, it's just nothing. Nothing goes away, or it's just, I'm not even gonna say it's like puck luck. He's just like offensively, it's just not clicking this year with him. And again, tough start to the year, new coach, new team, like get a lot going against him, but the same time, like, yeah, it wasn't a big shock that he didn't get invited to camp, but like this weekend I thought was a big statement. So I'm just very happy to see like all of the little plays that he does make that goes like unnoticed just because it doesn't turn into points. He got rewarded for those this weekend. And like he was fucking like I do think there was an extra spark of like being pissed off, but not taking it to the point where he used to when he would get pissed off, where he's like, I'm gonna decapitate everybody in like 5-minute major, but come on down. Like, I don't even want to play today. I fucking murder somebody. He channeled it the right way. So I thought it was just a great statement weekend for him against a good fucking, Penn State team. He was fantastic. So just very happy for him. Like we said, 3 assists in the first game. Then he scores a tipping goal in the second game for a 4-point weekend. So now after that, he's up to 5 points this year. So good for him. Very happy for him. Yeah, looked good. Looked great.
Nice. Well, between the crazy dog and your internet, we'll wrap up here soon. Any like 1 or 2 more prospects you want to hammer out here that deserve recognition or shout out?
Real quick, Hunter Haight
I bet it won't be quick.
He threw his hat in the ring for OHL goal of the season. He scored a fucking ridiculous. I can't remember if it was Friday or no. It was Saturday against Flint. They won 7-1, goal, assist, +2, 3 shots on net. I think it was like second, third start of the game. The goal that he scored was like anyone that was watching either some clips that were being posted or was watching his first development camp. Some of the goals that he was scoring in those like small-sided games. Like, he picked the puck up at his own blue line, diced through 2 of the first forwards. He entered the zone, and just this, like, rotation with the hips, he broke this poor bastard's ankles, just completely turned him inside out, and then went shelf and finished it off. It was one of the most disrespectful goals I've ever seen. Just the fucking... It was the thing that he does. Like, his footwork is unbelievable. His ability to just like change direction on a dime is, and he did it at full speed. But I just wanted to shout him out because that goal was legitimately, I audibly gasped. I went, and I had to like rewind it to make sure it actually was Hunter Haight. It was obscene. Like, it was just an unbelievable goal. Throwing his hat again, hat the rig for goal of the year, the OHL. It was absurd. And he just, he had a great weekend, 2 goals in both games. I think he had actually 2 points in both games, so for a 4-pointer. Since I was like, yeah, he's been great. And then, the points, he's right around a point per game. He has been like 2 points per game since I said that. So there you go. Anything I say, they're like, fuck this guy. He's an idiot. He doesn't actually know what he's talking about. And then they just go light up the fucking score sheet every fucking time. But I just wanted to at least mention one of the most absurd goals of the OHL this year, courtesy of Hunter Haight.
Credit you.
I fucking can't. I still cannot believe Hunter Haight or Riley Height isn't going to the fucking World Juniors. It's crazy.
All right, go off.
No, it's just fucking insane to me. I don't get it. Like, I don't know how they left this kid at home, but they did. So whatever.
I thought it'd be unfair.
I know he's like leading the
nice
WHL in scoring.
It's Canada. Like, they're way too friendly.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Have a donut.
True. Let me just make sure I'm not missing. Oh, I did have one more. Liam Ogren has earned his way back into the top line for Färjestad. And he has goals in every game that he's been on the first line for. And they are just absolute snipes. So he appears to be back to full health, already promoted back into their like first line, top 6, and just looking dangerous every time he touches the puck. Like, that kid can just rip it. So wanted to bring him up too, just as a shout out. Well, yeah, that's all we got. I think.
Did the thing. And look at that, just barely over an hour. Feels weird.
Yeah. I'm uncomfortable.
People are either thrilled or furious. And I think between the 3 people listening, it's probably like 2-1. Don't know which way.
Yeah. I don't know. going through the comments.
He's asking for Heights deficiency. Yeah, play devil's advocate quick before we wrap up. I'm giving you like 2 minutes here. If you're going to argue against Height being on Team Canada, like how are you putting that argument together? Like you win $100,000 if you can come up with a coherent reason for Height being removed.
I mean, I can't come up with a real reason. I'm telling you, I'm assuming the way that they looked at it just based on the roster construction, because I think their team actually got finalized today. Was they looked at him as kind of like a surplus of what they've already got, and they want a better mix in their forwards. Like, if they're not going to put him in their top 6, is there really like a spot where he'll be reasonable? As useful?
Is not being in the top 6 reasonable?
I'd have to look at the actual final group that they did bring, but either way, in no world does he get should he have been left off this roster? Like, I just can't. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just,
That's not what I asked.
I know.
Is it reasonable to think that he wouldn't be in the top 6?
Not really.
Okay.
I think he'd be in that top 6. I'd have him there. Like, he's a fucking stud. He can play center. He can play wing. He does play a reliable two-way game, whether people believe that or not. Like, it is weird. I've said this before about people interpreting like some of the Russian players that are like, oh yeah, well, what does he do defensively? Like, well, actually, like we bring this up with Yurov. It's like, well, he actually plays a very advanced defensive game.
Well,
he
actually,
just happens to be incredibly skilled.
How's he at the face-off dot?
Great. He's the best. Okay. He wins all of them. He's never lost one. I don't know. It's just this weird thing where it's like player who is like 18, 19, 20, puts up lots of points. And the people who have never watched him play always are like, well, boy, he's got to prove himself defensively. It's like, you don't even know what league he plays in. You've never seen him play hockey.
Okay, crazier move.
Those are the ones. Every time I lose my mind.
Crazier move. This or Steve Yzerman leaving Martin St. Louis off of the Canadian Olympic roster when he was literally like number 4 in points at the time.
Yeah, I felt like it's personal slight. That one was more egregious.
Okay. I thought so. I just wanted to see how hard you'd fight for Height. Oh, Martin St. Louis.
I should have
Boom, nailed it.
That's why he brought him. That's why he called him up.
That one line is literally the only reason I'm here. And only 2 people laughed.
Been waiting for. They're both on the screen. We're at pal.
Oh fuck. All right, that was fun.
Yeah. That'll do it for episode 91. Has there been a 91? I can't
think of a single player that's worn that
in the league. No, I'm just kidding.
You meant for the Wild. I thought you were being sarcastic, saying like you couldn't think of another.
No, I just meant for the Wild. No, I meant for the Wild. I can't.
Stefan Veilleux, and he gets flipped.
Nice.
I don't know. I can't think of a 91 either.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll think of one, and then next week will be episode 91 part 2.
Contote and Granny, hit the like. Everybody subscribe. I have to say that, or Isha will stab me.
And just to piss Isha off, if you want to hit the dislike and unsubscribe, I get it, because we're brutal. That's called balance right there. You know, just evening us out. All right.
This is going to go well. Wasn't prepared for that one.
I almost went off the rails. All right. Turn it off. Thanks for tuning in. Maybe we'll see you next week.
Oh, wait. See.
Might be someone else.
Martin's gay for robots.
God damn it. Fuck off.